It's a fact. It's a Friday fact. Yeah. A new fact every Friday. Ready, set, go. It's Friday. That's a fact. It's a Friday fact. Yeah. Yeah. Every Friday.
Did you know that you can access the consumption connectors in Visual Studio Code? While creating a Logic App standard in Visual Studio Code, one noticeable difference is the absence of certain connectors you're used to seeing in the Azure Portals Designer. At first glance, this might seem confusing, but there's a logical explanation behind it. Visual Studio Code is optimized for designing Logic App standard. While it's possible to work with consumption Logic apps in VS Code, it's not as natively integrated into the editor compared to standard Logic apps. In the Azure portal, when designing a Logic App standard, you get access to both in-app and consumption connectors. However, in Visual Studio Code, only in-app connectors are available by default. This is because in-app connectors offer better isolation and performance since they run within the same environment as your Logic App instance, minimizing network latency and improving control. If we take a look at the Logic App Designer for standard Logic apps inside Portal, and if we search for blob storage connectors, among other connectors you have the Create Blob v2 available, but what if we look for it in Visual Studio Code? We did the same search, but the result was different, and the connector was not found, but fortunately the designer features the equivalent connector, Upload Blob to Storage Container. So, how can we get access to the consumption connectors in Visual Studio Code? It is easy. Right mouse click over your workflow and click on Use Connectors from Azure. Next, select again Use Connectors from Azure on the search bar and select your resource group. After this, you will be ready to use them. If by some reason they do not appear, close the designer and open it again. It is worth mentioning that Logic App consumption connectors are typically shared across multiple customers and run in a shared multi-tenant environment. There's less control over where and how the connectors run since they are managed entirely by Azure, hence the lack of in-app isolation that you see in the standard plan. This separation in Logic Apps standard allows for tighter control over the integration environment and is one of the key differences between the two hosting models. Hope you have enjoyed this Friday fact, and we will see you in the next one.